Let me ask you a question. What are you willing to lose to keep your integrity? Because I'm gonna be real with you, integrity has a cost. It's not free. It never was. Anybody out here telling you that doing the right thing is easy, they lying to you. Doing what's right when no one's watching, that'll cost you. Standing up for what you believe in, that's gonna cost you friends. Telling the truth when it's easier to lie, that might cost you a promotion. Walking away from quick money because it don't sit right with your soul, that'll cost you everything in the short term, but it'll save your life in the long run. Choosing integrity means stepping into a life where your decisions are not dictated by ease, but by principle. It means walking away from what feels safe, what feels profitable, what feels comfortable, because you know in your heart it's not aligned with who you are. This isn't some theoretical feel-good statement. It's real. Integrity is tested not in the moments when it's easy to do the right thing, but in the moments when the right thing hurts, when it's inconvenient, when it costs you something you thought you needed to survive. Most people fold because they want to grow without pain. They want elevation without sacrifice. But integrity says, if you want to stay solid, you're going to have to get uncomfortable. There will be days when you'll have to turn down a job offer because the organization doesn't align with your ethics. Days when you'll have to walk away from a business deal because the terms aren't on. Moments when you'll be offered quick success, fast money, instant gratification. But something deep down tells you it ain't right. And in those moments, choosing integrity will hurt. It'll feel like loss. People will question you. They'll think you're being difficult. They'll say you're throwing away opportunity. But what they don't see is what it's costing your soul to stay in that room. What it will cost your peace to compromise for profit. Comfort is addictive. It's human nature to want to avoid friction, to run toward what feels safe. But that's not where greatness is built. Greatness is built in the tension between who you want to be and what the world is pressuring you to do. That tension is where integrity lives. It's where you look at two options. One that pays well, gets you ahead, but makes you feel like you're lying to yourself. And the other that pays less, slows your progress, but keeps your soul intact. And you choose the hard road. That road strips you, it humbles you, but it also builds something inside you that can't be taken away. There are times when your integrity will cost you relationships. People will walk away because you refuse to go with the flow, because you call out dishonesty, because you won't play the game just to win. They'll label you as arrogant, stubborn, too idealistic. But what they don't realize is that you're protecting something sacred. You're protecting your alignment, your authenticity. And while they're selling pieces of themselves to get ahead, you're investing in something deeper, something that doesn't get applauded on social media, but will carry you when the applause fades. Sometimes integrity will cost you time. While others are taking shortcuts, you're building brick by brick. While they're cutting corners, you're laying foundations. They'll seem to rise faster, shine brighter, get all the recognition. But you know what they're standing on is hollow. And when the storms come, and they always come, you'll still be standing because you didn't compromise your structure for speed. You didn't trade your values for visibility. And yes, there will be moments when doubt creeps in, when you'll ask yourself if it's worth it. When you see others winning and wonder if maybe, just maybe, you should have taken that easy road. But in those moments, you have to remember, comfort is temporary, but character is eternal. What you build through struggle, through sacrifice, through truth, that lasts. Integrity stretches you. It forces you to look at who you really are when nobody's watching. It makes you uncomfortable because it demands growth. It demands honesty. It demands discipline. You won't always get applause for it. You won't always get rewards right away. But what you will get is the strength to look in the mirror and be proud of the person you see. Integrity isn't some loud declaration you make to the world. It's not in the speeches you post online or the quotes you share on your timeline. It's in the decisions you make when no one is watching, when there are no eyes on you, no audience clapping, no spotlight shining. It's in the quiet choices, the small yes or no decision, the tiny battles you fight within yourself every single day. Integrity is built in silence. It's formed in the moments that seem insignificant to others, but define everything about who you really are. The world celebrates outcomes, achievements, and results, but integrity lives in process. It's in how you do what you do, not just in what you do. A lot of people want to be known for being real, for being solid, but they don't live that life when it's inconvenient. They switch up when the pressure hits. They smile in public and cut corners in private. That's not integrity. That's performance. Integrity isn't what you say. It's what you do consistently when it doesn't benefit you in the moment. It's about being the same person in every room, every setting, every situation, whether the lights are on or off. It's not about being perfect. It's about being accountable, about owning your truth, walking in your values and standing firm in them, especially when no one's keeping score. When you have integrity, you don't need a stage to validate you. You validate yourself by honoring your commitments, by keeping your word even when it's hard. You said you were going to do it, so you do it, even when you're tired, even when nobody will ever find out if you quit. You promise yourself you work out, so you get up and do it, not because someone's watching, but because your word to yourself matters. That's integrity. It's about treating the unseen work with the same energy and intention you would give to a big moment in front of the world. You don't train for the moment you're in. You train for the moments to come. As integrity is your training ground. Every quiet decision is a rep. Every small act of honesty, discipline, and truthfulness builds the muscle. People see the championship game, but they don't see the lonely hours of practice. They don't see the sweat, the repetition, the frustration, the late nights. But that's where winners are made. That's where the foundation is laid. And integrity is the exact same. It's the preparation nobody celebrates, but everybody feels when the moment comes. You'll find that living with integrity separates you. You can't move like everybody else. You can't do what they do. You can't say one thing and do another. You have to move with alignment. And sometimes that makes you feel like you're behind, like you're missing out, like you're being too strict. But what you're really doing is building something that can't be shaken, something real, something solid. Solid. Most people want the reward without the requirement. They want the respect without the responsibility, but integrity demands both. It demands consistency when the emotions wear off. It demands truth when lying would be easier. It demands excellence when average would get you by. And the more you walk in integrity, the more you start realizing that it's not about what you do occasionally, it's about who you are habitually. That's why integrity is a lifestyle. It's not a switch you flip on when it benefits you. It's not selective. It's not seasonal. It shows up in how you talk to people who can't do anything for you. It shows up in how you handle situations where you could get away with something, but you choose not to. It shows up when you tell the truth and accept the consequences, even if it costs you popularity, comfort, or gain. Integrity is being loyal to your values, not your feelings. It's sticking to your principles when your feelings try to convince you to do otherwise. When you live with integrity, you will feel the gap between you and the crowd. That gap is real. That gap is uncomfortable. That gap exists because you're not willing to compromise who you are just to blend in. You're not built to fake it. You're not made to water yourself down to make others comfortable. And because of that, people will misunderstand you. They'll question your choices. They'll label your discipline as arrogance, your honesty as confrontation, your standards as being not too much. But they don't know what you know. They don't know what it costs to stay true in a world that wants you to fold. You see, the crowd moves with convenience. They go wherever the wind blows. Whatever's trending, that's where they are. Whoever's loudest, that's who they follow. But when you choose integrity, you're not chasing trends. You're grounded in truth. You're anchored in something deeper than attention or applause. That's why you stand out. That's why people look at you sideways when you turn down that easy money, when you say no to the crowd, when you choose the harder road. You're different. And that difference makes people uncomfortable. Integrity separates you because it sets a standard. And when you raise your standard, it exposes the people around you who are settling. It forces them to look at themselves. It challenges their excuses. It calls out the lies they've been telling themselves to stay average. And not everybody wants to be challenged. Not everybody wants to rise. Some people want to stay in the middle, and they'll hate you for trying to rise above it. They'll resent you for doing the work they're not willing to do. When you start moving with integrity, you'll start noticing how few people are really about that life. People say they want greatness, but they're not willing to make the sacrifices greatness requires. People say they want success, but they're not willing to carry the burden of truth. They rather pretend. They rather impress than improve. But you can't play that game when you walk in integrity. You can't just say what sounds good. You have to live it. You can't just talk about excellence. You have to show it. There's a reason why leaders often feel lonely. Integrity pulls you out of the pack. It forces you to take a position even when it's unpopular. It makes you walk away from situations that don't match your values, even if everyone else is comfortable staying. And when you walk away, you're not just leaving people. You're leaving the version of yourself that needed their approval. You're stepping into a new identity, one that's not dependent on the crowd to feel confident. And yes, that separation can hurt. It can make you second guess yourself. It can make you wonder if you're doing too much. If maybe you should just go with the flow like everyone else. But deep down, you know what you're doing. You know why you're doing it. Because you're not trying to be like, you're trying to be real. You're not trying to fit in. You're trying to stand tall. You're not trying to impress. You're trying to live free. The ones who choose integrity are the ones who are willing to walk away from noise to find peace. They'd rather have a small circle of solid people than a crowd full of phonies. They'd rather go slow and steady than fast and fake. They understand that separation isn't a punishment. It's a preparation. It's preparing you to lead, to influence, to be the example others will look to when everything around them starts to fall apart. Integrity isn't about isolation for the sake of being different. It's about alignment. When you're in alignment with who you say you are, with what you believe, with what you stand for, then you don't need validation. You don't need permission. You don't need the crowd to approve. You move with a different kind of power because you know who you are and what you won't compromise. Legacy is not built in what you say, it's built in how you live. The truth is, people may not remember the titles you held, the money you made, or the cars you drove, but they will remember how you treated them, how you made them feel, and whether or not they could trust your word. Integrity is the brick and mortar of a lasting legacy. It's what keeps your name strong when you're not in the room. It's what speaks for you when your voice is no longer there to defend you. When you live with integrity, you're writing a story that outlives the moment. You're building something that will echo long after your time is up. A lot of people chase quick wins, fast recognition, overnight success. They cut corners, lie a little here, cheat a little there, compromise when it benefits them, and yes, they may get ahead for a while. But what they don't understand is that shortcuts have a shelf life. What you gain through dishonesty will eventually crumble under the weight of its own fraud. But when you build with integrity, you build slow, you build steady, and you build something that can carry the weight of success without collapsing. Your legacy is being shaped every day by your actions, especially when no one is watching. When you show up and do the work the right way, when you honor your commitments even when it's hard, when you tell the truth knowing it could cost you, you're laying down one more brick. And over time, those bricks become a foundation that your children, your community, and your future self can stand on. That's what integrity does. It creates strength that doesn't waver under pressure. People might not always clap for you in the moment. They might not give you the credit you deserve. You might not go viral. You might not be the most popular, but the people who know you, the ones closest to you, the ones who deal with you in real life, they'll know your character. They'll speak on your name with respect. They'll say on the name with respect. They'll say that person stood for something. That person didn't fold. And that kind of respect can't be bought. It's earned slowly through years of consistency, honesty, and realness. There's something powerful about walking through life with your head held high because you know you didn't take the easy route. There's something powerful about knowing you didn't betray your values for success, and that power becomes part of your legacy. It shows up in how your children carry your name. It shows up in how people remember your leadership. It shows up in the reputation that follows you everywhere you go. You may not leave behind $1 billion, but you can leave behind something far more valuable, a name that means something. Legacy built on integrity doesn't just impact your personal circle. It ripples out into the world. It changes environments. It inspires people to hold higher standards. It gives others permission to lead with truth instead of fear. Your life becomes a blueprint. Your story becomes a testimony. And in a world full of fakes, your authenticity becomes a light. People are drawn to those who live real, even if they don't say it out loud. They remember those who didn't switch up, who didn't cave, who didn't bend under pressure. Integrity allows you to plant seeds you may never see grow. You invest in future generations, in future generation, in future movements. What you do today in silence becomes someone else's strength tomorrow. Your struggles, your choices, your refusal to compromise will become a reference point for others trying to do it the right way. When they're tempted to quit, they'll remember how you stood firm. When they want to take shortcuts, they'll recall your example. And slowly, without ever asking for it, your life becomes a legacy others look up to. It's easy to say you have integrity when there's nothing at risk, when everything is calm, when no one is watching and no pressure is applied. But real integrity isn't proven in the still moments. It's revealed in the fire, in the storm, when everything you care about is on the line. When your dream is dangling in front of you, your reputation is at stake, or your income depends on a single decision, that's when integrity speaks. It doesn't whisper. It doesn't hide. It either shows up strong or it disappears. And for many people, that's when they realize what they thought was integrity was just convenience in disguise. Integrity doesn't get tested in theory. It gets tested when the stakes are high. When telling the truth could get you fired. When walking away from a toxic deal could delay your progress. When standing firm on your values could make you the outcast. That's when it's no longer about morals in your mouth. It's about principles in your action. That's when you find out whether your integrity is just an idea or a lifestyle. Pressure has a way of exposing who we really are. It doesn't change you. It reveals you. And in those high-stakes moments, you learn more about yourself than in 100 easy days. You see what you're really made of. Do you fold to save face? Do you lie to get ahead? Do you cut corners to speed things up? Or do you stay rooted in what you believe, even if it hurts in a moment? That pain isn't punishment. It's confirmation that you're standing for something bigger than comfort. There are situations in life where saying yes would open a door, but it will close your self-respect. There are people who will offer you positions, partnerships, and promotions, but the price is your integrity. And in those moments, you have to decide what matters more, temporary gain or lasting peace. It's not always black and white. Sometimes it's subtle. Sometimes the deal is clean on the surface, but your spirit feels odd. Sometimes the opportunity sounds right, but deep down, you know you'd have to bend too far to make it work. Those are the moments where your integrity gets called to the front line. Most people want success so badly, you don't compromise in the process. They'll change their tone, hide their truth, blur the lines, just to keep things moving. But what they don't see is that every compromise chips away at their foundation. One decision turns into a habit. One small lie opens the door to a bigger one. And before they know it, they're trapped in a version of themselves that's completely disconnected from who they used to be. Integrity is about setting a line you won't cross. It's about saying, no matter what's at stake, this is who I am. And the more you live by that, the stronger that line becomes. It's not arrogance, it's conviction. It's not stubbornness, it's strength. And when others see you holding that line under pressure, they won't always understand it, but they'll respect it. Even your enemies will have to admit you're consistent. You might lose things by standing your ground. That's real. You might watch other people who compromise rise faster than you. They might get the claps, the checks, the opportunities, but you're not playing a short game. You're building something with longevity. You're building something you won't have to apologize for later, because it's one thing to get there. It's another thing to stay there with your soul intact. And staying there without regret, that takes integrity. In moments when the pressure is heavy and the stakes are high, you don't need to be perfect. You need to be anchored. You need to be rooted so deep in who you are that no opportunity, no threat, no temptation can pull you off center. That's how you know your integrity is real. Not when it feels good, but when it costs you, when it's difficult, when every part of you wants to bend and you still choose to stand. Integrity doesn't just cost you things on the outside. It blesses you with something on the inside. When you live in integrity, you walk with peace, not comfort, not convenience, not perfection, but peace, with quiet confidence that comes from knowing you didn't fold. that you stayed true. That no matter what others think or say, you honored what you believe. That peace is powerful. It's the kind of power that can't be bought, faked, or borrowed. It's earned. And it comes from living in alignment with your values, from making decisions that match your core, even when nobody claps for it. There's a weight that people carry when they don't live with integrity. They might smile in public, but they're at war inside. They know they lied, they know they cheated, they know they pretended to be something they're not, just to win, just to be accepted, just to keep a position. That burden becomes heavier with every compromise. It starts as a whisper, then turns into stress, then into guilt, and eventually into regret. That's the cost of choosing the easy way. But when you choose integrity, you're not carrying that. You're not second guessing yourself. You're not lying awake at night wondering if the truth will come out. You rest easy, not because life is perfect, but because your spirit is clean. That kind of peace gives you power in every room you walk into. You don't have to fake your confidence. You don't have to worry about being exposed. You don't have to keep track of lies or cover up your tracks. You're free. And that freedom gives you presence. It gives you boldness. People can sense it. They might not be able to explain it, but they feel it. There's something about a person who's real, who's solid, who doesn't flinch under pressure, who says what they mean and means what they say. That kind of person carries an energy that shifts environments. You don't have to yell to prove your worth when you have integrity. You don't have to convince people to trust you. Your life does the talking. Your consistency speaks louder than any speech. People watch how you move. Whoa. They remember how you handle situations when things got rough. And when they see that you didn't switch up, that you didn't sell out, that you didn't betray your core just to get ahead, they start to view you as dependable, as real, as someone whose word means something. And in today's world, that makes you rare. The power that comes from integrity isn't just about perception. It's about influence. Because when you walk in integrity, people will follow you, not because you're the loudest, but because you're the most trusted. Influence doesn't come from talent alone. It doesn't come from charisma. It comes from character. It comes from people knowing they can count on you, that you won't change up just because the situation changes, that you won't betray them behind closed doors. That kind of influence can move families, communities, teams, and even entire cultures. Integrity gives you the power to make decisions without fear. When you live in truth, you're not controlled by what others might think, what they might say, or what they might do. You don't need to calculate your moves based on image. You're free to choose what's right without needing validation. That kind of decision-making power is rare. It's strong, it's quiet. Well, it moves mountains because you're not reacting, you're responding. You're not just surviving, you're leading. Cue and equidify. You're not just going along with the current. You're setting a direction based on principle. And when you have that kind of internal clarity, you stop being shaken by rejection. You stop chasing every opportunity. You stop looking for shortcuts because you already know who you are and you already know what matters. That knowledge is power. That clarity is strength. It becomes your compass. It becomes your anchor. It becomes your advantage. When others are lost in confusion, you stay grounded. When others are tossed by pressure, you stand firm. When others lose themselves trying to be everything to everyone, you remain solid because you chose to live from a place of truth. So when the moment comes, and it will come when you got to decide between what's easy and what's right, between fitting in and standing tall, between gaining the world and keeping your soul, choose integrity. Because at the end of the day, when the lights go out, when the noise fades, when the crowd disappears, all you're left with is you, your truth, your name, your legacy. Integrity has a cost, but not having it, that'll cost you everything. So pay the price now and live free forever.